Hi, I'm Candy Evans, and this is Dallas Dirt. Today, I'm so excited to have right next to me Scott Powell with New Leaf Custom Homes, one of the founders. As you know, we curate homes and home builders on Candy's Dirt, our real estate website, and I have been through the building of a home. I know what it's about. It's a serious thing. It's the most expensive in your whole life, and we think we have the very best on Candy's Dirt, and we do. So here's one of them. Thank you, Scott, for coming today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here with you, Candy.
And you guys are so exciting. You started in Lake Highlands. Let's jump right into that story of how you and Melissa started this company. Were you always in the home building business?
Yeah, I think a lot of it kind of just happened as a natural evolution. My dad was an engineer. My granddad was a builder. And I just loved kind of the art of design. So actually, funny, I wanted to go to school for architecture. My dad was like, there's no money in architecture.
True.
And so I got a finance degree. I had started some small businesses in college and told them
In college.
and had some money, and I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I thought I was going to go get a job like most adults somewhere, in a big
Work
office
for
building.
The big office.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And it was funny because in my last interview at JP Morgan, the guy was like, so you've started some businesses and been successful, and why do you want to work for somebody? And I was like, because that's what you do, right? So I was like, I don't know, let me go home and think about that. And I went home and I was like, I don't think I do, actually. So thanks, that guy, I owe that guy a lot, because that was a great question. And so I ended up deciding to take some of the money that I had made from the sale of these businesses. This is back in like 06, 07, and there's a lot of foreclosures at auction, and I had some friends that were doing that. So I did that, and I started to fix this up, and I just realized how much I enjoyed it.
You were like rehabbing homes.
Yeah, I was buying them at auction, distressed properties, fixing them up, and then selling them. So I did that, and I loved it. And then I had friends who were like, hey, can you come do my kitchen or come add an addition? So for the next few years, we just did a lot of remodeling, and I grew up in Lake Highlands and East Dallas, and so that was a natural place for us. I knew it really well, and then the market turned, and kind of one thing led to another, and then things just kind of took off. We were doing more new homes and remodels, and the market was booming, like you said. And at that point, it was just me. My wife actually is a marriage and family therapist. And
Really? That comes in handy with
absolutely. We tell all of our clients, it's funny, like when you're at a design table, you're actually getting therapy, which is essential because there's a lot of conflict sometimes between husband and wife or between spouses. So I asked her if she would come in and start helping me with some bookkeeping, just little things, because I was maxed out, and she did. And then she's so amazing. She's so good at everything that she does. It was like, oh, can you do this? Oh, you're actually great at marketing too. Can you help with marketing? And before we knew it, she was kind of half in therapy and half in New Leaf, until eventually she came over full time to New Leaf. She realized like how much she loved design as well, and like that was really fulfilling for her, and she enjoyed kind of what we were doing. And so that was something that she decided to do. And so we'd been building for a while, and we just realized like how much, speaking of conflict, how much conflict there is as a builder when you're working with outside architects and outside interior designers. And we felt like we were accountable to our clients, and we were realizing that there's a lot of budgets busted and a lot of just disconnection and communication between who's taking care of the client, and everybody kind of had their own view of what taking care of the client looked like,
with all those different like third-party vendors.
Yeah,
almost, right?
Yeah, because you've got the architect who's been hired to create this beautiful design, right? But they don't know costing necessarily, because every builder costs differently. A funny story: we had somebody who came to us to bid out a house in Forest Hills, and we bid it out, and at the end, we'd done some revisions, and I think we were one of 4 builders bidding, and I think that we were the low bid, and we were $400,000 over their top end budget. And we thought that we could build for this. And so they'd spent all this time, and they were pretty disheartened. I think they ended up selling that lot or that house because they couldn't afford to do it. But so we were trying to figure out, how do you help manage this process with all these moving parts? And then we decided, well, the only way really that we can control that is if we hire our own architect and hire our own designers. So we offered a job to our favorite architect and interior designer, and they agreed, and we brought them in, and then that's really when things became really rewarding for us, because we just felt like we could take such better care of our clients. And then with any spec houses that we did, we felt like it was really our own identity that we were creating, as opposed to kind of interpreting somebody else's identity, whoever the designers were. So that was a lot of fun. We've had those people now for probably 10 years.
Right. And I've seen your showroom over at very convenient Walnut Hill and Central. It's like everything is in the house there. So for your clients, that's easier too.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because we just built for somebody and finished, and this is kind of a knock to us. They just said, like, we would have preferred to be designing along the way and making changes and getting to kind of design, build while we go, you know. And so there are people like that, but I think
it's hard.
Yeah.
It's
and
hard.
usually you should have an open pocketbook, because your budget is
always more
subjective, and it's just going to keep going up. And the timeline will just keep stretching and stretching and stretching with every change. I want to make this change to the cabinet. Well, that'll take 2 more months.
And put everything else. It's
Right,
an assembly line. That's what my builder, who, by the way, is no longer building anymore, but he taught me, he said, listen, every change you make puts us behind.
Yeah.
Because they have this assembly line of things they do. And you can't take the cabinets off the wood to get underneath and put the plumbing under there, because that's going to ruin everything.
Yeah. So there are some people that enjoy that. Maybe it's maybe it's a part-time hobby, but for most of our clients, I think what's really beneficial is the people who are like, I really want to be in my house in this time frame, and I would like this process managed as well as possible.
And
I want a
expedited.
budget. I want to keep that budget, and so, you know, what we've learned is really the only way we can fully manage the process is if we do a lot of the design work in the beginning. And so we'll do as much of the design up front so we can cost it all out, get contracts with our subcontractors. We know the tile material, the grout colors, the lighting. Cabinets are designed already. You know, I think it's typical to design cabinets after framing. You know, if you don't even know what your cabinets are, how do you have a budget? And you're already got your bank loan, and you're already knee deep in the project. And so we try to control that, and it's a system that with our designers in house, it allows us to do that and create this really great experience for people that helps us build a lot faster and help manage budget expectations a lot better.
That's what blew me away when I toured your showroom. Is, first of all, it's like you have everything packaged and ready to go. And people today are busy. They don't have time. They think it sounds like, and it is. It's a luxury to do it, but it's not easy. I've done it, and I've screwed up. I mean, and then when you screw up on something, it's like, oh, you live with it for 30 years, right? So you
or you pay more to redo it again.
Exactly, to tear it out, redo it, or you wait for the flood to come.
Yeah.
Redo your floors, which is what I did. But you really need, first of all, you need that designer and that architect. You need to listen to them. And what you guys have is you have everything there, so people can go, oh, we want this package and this package or this package or this tile, and you can put it together, and they've kind of already done the work for you.
Yeah.
A beautiful, product, and they're that's what saves money too when it's already done like that, right?
Yeah, I tell people, like, once you've committed to plan, so like once you've started a project and you've gotten your bank loan, and let's just say that you pick this beautiful countertop that's the slab is $10,000 more than what you had allotted for, and you want that times 4 so you can do waterfalls and your backsplash, and so that's $40,000, and you're like, well, but I do have this budget that I want to stick to. Well, you've already poured your foundation. I mean, you're kind of committed to a lot of things, versus if you're picking those counters out before you finalized your plans and you say, but I really want to stick in this budget, and it's like, great. We could actually make the house smaller by 50 square feet and offset that and still let you have everything you want while managing your budget. But that's only possible if you're doing that work in the beginning.
Yeah, that is like the brilliance of your company, I think, because so many people go in and you're like, it's candy in a candy store or champagne for me, because you look at all this marble. I mean, I did the same thing. I gravitated to the blue Bahia, and they said, oh, that's the most expensive one in the store. I'm like, well, that's what I want, and I don't like all this brown stuff over here, but of course I had been bid for the brown stuff, right?
Yeah.
So yes, we went over, and I think what you guys do is you manage the cost so much better the way you do it. You're creative and you're building a high-end, beautiful home, but you're kind of approaching it in a fiscally responsible way, I think.
Yeah, we just there's so many moving parts, like you said, and it's not your builder's fault, because how could he have known that you wanted that counter, right?
Right, exactly.
No, there's no way anybody could have known until you actually went through the process.
And new products come out like every 5 minutes, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I finally just gave up. Like, I can't keep up with it. I could be changing everything at the last minute. Oh no, I want to do the dishwasher drawer.
Yeah, just delete Instagram once you start.
Yes, exactly, because so many things are out there. Well, you also have a new pool business now. So I think everyone in Dallas needs a pool because of our weather.
It's funny. Yeah, it's starting to feel a little bit that way. Like everybody's got a pool. And so for us, kind of like design, when you have this major construction that's really a part of the house construction, and especially it affects the drainage of the whole property. So you have this like master drainage plan all thought of, and then the pool company working independent directly with the client comes and makes these designs, and then the pool shows up and they pour it, and you're like, oh, you're 2 feet too high. Now you're creating all these drainage issues.
And drainage is huge in Texas because we're flat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and also we have clay soil that's expansive, and so if water's sitting in the same place for too long, you usually start to see some movement. And so it actually became more of a frustration point for us. And so like design, it was really starting the company was really just the solution to the problems that our clients were having and that we were having, the frustrations and kind of miscoordination. So we just said,
we're going to have a pool company.
Let's just start a pool company. Yeah. And so we just found this great guy, who had owned his own business for a while and had just sold it and was looking to just settle down. He's wonderful, and he's joined the family, and we've just loved it. It is a lot of fun. Our designers, you get this integration because with most people who are building pools, the person who's designing their pool is a salesman first, and they've just learned how to design pools. You have some great companies out there that design pools, and some people will hire them. But most people are just going to a pool company who has a salesman who designs their pool. But what's been really fun, and he loves this, is he sits in the same. So in our office, we have a big, just a big open space, and that's where all the creatives are. It's where our architects, interior designers, and now our pool company are all together. And so there's just all this design dialogue that's crossing between the different companies. And so our interior designers will help people pick out their pool tile, instead of...
You see it
in
the house. Or also your architects will have a pool bath or something that you can put 2 doors on a bath, maybe an outdoor, going outdoors that you didn't think about.
Everything is thought of with that pool continuously. And like you said, the pool tile now can complement the tile that's maybe on the outdoor kitchen that's also complementing the kitchen, because you're all seeing them in the same space. And so, you get this cohesive design instead of walking into a house and feeling like, oh, well, maybe that was added later, or maybe that was a remodel, or and so anyways,
you're making me want to build a house. Oh my God. It's so fun. I loved it. I think it's great, but it does take time.
Yeah.
And it takes, there's a lot of frustration. I do think my advice I'm doing again would be let the pros do it. I mean, sit down with them and work with them, but don't go to all the stores because you'll go crazy. There's too much
overload.
out there.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about dirt in Dallas because we know it's hot. Tell me, is it hard to find lots? Because you guys have got some great lots on Forest Lane and Preston Hollow now, venturing out from Lake Highlands. But isn't it hard to find lots?
Yeah.
You got to tear the houses down, right?
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah. In the areas that we work in primarily are just East Dallas and kind of Preston Hollow and Park Cities, and obviously those areas have been built for a lot of years. So occasionally you find a development opportunity that is maybe an old office building, church that they're selling, and so you get an opportunity for some infill development lots. We're doing one right now in Little Forest Hills, actually. That's 7 lots. It was a school that came down. So that's we
definitely want to cover that. That's a good story.
Yeah, it's a really neat development and a neat opportunity. But so you have that, but then most houses are, you're buying a house that's old and the land value has exceeded the value of the home, and so it becomes a good candidate for a tear down and a new build for somebody. And so it's been extremely hard for the last 10 years, and it's kind of a, who can find the lots,
Yeah.
And then we've been around these areas for long enough that people see our signs, and sellers that kind of know that their house is not in the best condition, they kind of know it'll probably get torn down. And so they'll call us directly, and we love working with those people. But yeah, we're always on the lookout. So there's some really special, unique properties in Dallas that you just kind of like wait for. You hope maybe something will come available.
How long do you think, what is the lifespan of a home? Let's say a home built in the 60s. Are they kind of circling the drain right now?
I think it really just depends on the person. And so let me just explain, like, most houses kind of reach this value where the land value has gone up so much that if somebody wants to come and buy this 2,000 square foot home, which is most of the homes that were built in Dallas back then were in the 2,000 to 2,500 square foot range. If somebody wants that size house, but they're buying the land for so much, it's already, that house per square foot is already really high. And then if they decide, I want to keep the house and remodel it, it's almost as much as a new home. If you really go in and you properly update it, like new electrical and new mechanical and new insulation and all the stuff, you'll spend probably 75% of what a new home will cost. And now you're just really over invested. And
on an old foundation.
Yeah, on an old foundation. So for some people, they don't mind being a little bit upside down, and that's what they want. And the charm of having the original home, and you can beef up the foundation, and you can do all the stuff. And we just recently did that with a client actually in Lake Highlands on Parkford, and we just took down all the drywall, reinforced the subfloor, fixed the foundation, and then literally we built a new house up. It's all new wiring, all new everything, all new plumbing, mechanical, drywall, and then everything up. And that house will be good for another 100 years.
Good, 100 years.
Yeah, and so that's definitely possible. It was an emotional purchase. It's kind of like restoration work. Like when people say, I want to get some restored wood floors, like some people think that that'll be at a discount, but usually it costs more than it does to bring in new wood floors.
To get it out.
Yeah, to salvage it and clean it. And,
exactly.
And so it's kind of the same way for remodel. So anyways, most people are building new.
They're building new, and I think you have, what a lot of people don't think about is technology has changed so much too. When you build, you can put so much in the walls that you couldn't put before.
Yeah. Yeah, and higher ceilings too. I'd say that's a major factor for people is you can go in and do all this stuff, but you're still going to have 8-foot ceilings, which in today's world, I think 10-foot ceilings, especially on a first floor, is just kind of an expectation.
Yeah. What's too high? 10 foot is and 12 foot, right? But if you go 14 or 16, is that too high?
I've seen people do 12 feet across the entire first floor, and that feels pretty nice. I think some rooms can feel a little bit tall at 12 feet, but I have never seen anybody go taller than that across an entire floor, except for possibly like a living room or a primary suite.
Or if there's like a balcony.
Yeah, like an entryway that's with a second floor and a stairway that'll go up. But I think it depends on what the size of the house is. As the house gets bigger, it kind of wants taller ceilings to be proportionate. And so I'd say most of the times our ceilings are going to be between 10 and 12 feet. And then oftentimes we like a living room to pop up a little bit higher, so it's got its own distinct space.
This is the living room.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of architecture tells you that this is the loggia, this is the living room, and that's
you got to have something, especially how everybody has these kind of great rooms now where everything is so interconnected, and it's like we want them to be interconnected, but they all still need to be rooms. So how do we make them distinctly different?
Well, I do think, I mean, we say in Candy's Dirt, those low ceilings, unless you're really into that bow house, they're the kiss of death. I mean, you've got to either raise them or you've got to, start over, because everyone expects higher ceilings, the openness, the big windows, the big, huge, bright, unencumbered windows. So
with taller ceilings come taller windows.
Yes.
Which comes more light. And once you've had that, it's really, really difficult to go back.
There ain't no going back. So where do you think you're getting your most traffic? I mean, are you getting more calls from Highland Park, from Preston Hollow, from Lake Highlands? You feel like you're still doing remodels too, right? Yes.
Yeah. We want to keep doing some remodels just because there's always going to be a market for that. And, and the market's going to ebb and flow. And just like in 2008, there'll be a point where people are building less maybe, and those people will be remodeling instead. And so we want to.
Was that happening recently with interest rates?
I do think that there's a little bit of a shift that's happening. We definitely get more calls now for remodeling than we do for new homes, although there's still obviously plenty of people that have a need for a new home that are just outgrown their old home. I'd say that's the majority of people are either local and they're needing a bigger home because their family's growing or their needs are changing, or it's somebody moving in to the area from out of state and they want a bigger home or they need a new home. So you definitely have those, but we do see more people. I mean, it's really hard if you've got an interest rate at 3% and you're staring down the barrel at like, okay, not only am I going to double the cost of my home, but I'm also going to double my interest rate at the same time.
Which is no longer deductible.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, but it was like 3/4 of the country had either refinanced or bought. And that's why people weren't budging last year. They were like, we're not moving. And they've come down a little. I think I have this vision in my head of this stampede, this gate with like the cowboys and everyone on it, like this stampede of, when those interest rates slip down, whoosh, everyone is going to come.
I think that's a lot of people's expectation that there's a lot of people that have been sitting on the side for a while, and there's this pent up energy that once things I think people really just want to see interest rates stop going up, and a sign of it coming down is a positive sign, I think, for people that will help them be encouraged. So I do agree with you.
I have to ask you a really racy question here. So did you do our mayor's house? Because he lives in Forest Hills.
No, I did not.
Because he built a new home, Yes.
I did not build his house, but I know the agent who helped him, and I think I know who built it, but I'm not certain.
It's a beautiful home.
Yeah.
And I think, as I remember the story, that he told me they lived in the guest house, which people do. And they have that as a family memory. We lived in like 2 rooms while we built our home. We tore it down and built it. So I'm sure you've experienced that.
Yes. In our most recent one, we actually, I tell people that, cobblers' kids never have shoes, like even as a builder, because our clients all go first. And so in our last one, we had sold our house and we had to move out. And we ended up in a Hampton Inn for almost 2 months with 4 kids and 2 dogs, and we had 2 suites, and I'm telling you, like nothing is worse than that.
2 dogs?
The free breakfast was only good for a few days, and we ended up boarding the dogs, and it's just.
Oh my God, we have to do that. We have to do that story, because I was going to ask you, did you build your own home?
Yeah, of course.
You did. Oh my God. Okay. Obviously, we could talk some more, so we'll just do it again.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So glad to be here.
I'm so glad you were here, and we love your company, and we're going to look forward to looking at all your beautiful homes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us on Dallas Dirt. We will have more of the same, so don't ever go away.